Govee just released their latest flagship outdoor lights, the Permanent Outdoor Lights Prism. I first saw these tees when I was in Berlin at the IFA Tech trade show. Couldn't wait to try them myself, and today is the day. Big thanks to Govee for sponsoring this video and sending me their new Prism outdoor lights. Today we'll discuss the installation, the features and specs, and try to determine if these would be a good addition to your home. If you've been following my channel at all, you probably know that I'm a big fan of these types of outdoor lights. I've been using other models by Govee for years now, and even helped a number of my friends install them at their houses. Again, this here is their new flagship model. So these are the brightest, most advanced, and also the most expensive ones that they offer. There are some drawbacks also to consider, so let's check them out and see if they're worth it. I have here a box of 150 feet of lights. The Prism model is sold in 100, 150, and 200 foot options. Inside the box, we have some documentation and a quick start guide. We'll set that aside. Now let's look at these new lights. First thing I thought was, dang, these things are big. Understandable, I guess, since each light head has 3 LEDs and lenses. I'm gonna take the rest of this stuff out of the box here so you can see everything that's included. The 150 foot set comes with 9 segments of lights, 4 extension cables, 2 shorter ones and 2 longer ones, and a few connectors for cutting and splicing. We have mounting screws, the control box, and power supply. And just a quick comparison here real quick regarding the size. You can see these are about twice as big as the Pro model that they currently sell. One thing I like about these is that these have the little screw holes built in to each light head, so you don't have to use extra clips or anything like that as you do with the other models if you want to actually screw them in. They do of course also have the 3M tape on the back of each one as well, just like all the other models, which I found actually does hold up quite well over long periods of time. All this here just makes the installation of these very easy. I connected them all together and plugged them in real quick just to make sure everything was working. And then it was time to get these installed. I called in some help for this one as I'm not too comfortable on the upper level of my roof. Plus we have a somewhat complex roof line with 2 triangles or 2 or 3 triangles. We got right to work installing these though. We actually had to tear down the existing Govee outdoor lights that I had up there already. I was using the base model here, the 2nd gen lights, so these new Prism lights should be a nice upgrade. Again, installing them is quite easy. Just peel and stick using the 3M tape, and for extra reinforcement, use the screws to secure them to the eaves, which we did here for all of my lights. This is actually the 3rd set of permanent outdoor lights that I've installed at my house. Plus I've done some for a few friends, and I have learned a few things. A couple of things to note. First of all is the planning process. I highly recommend spending some time to plan out the installation well before you start. Know where your power supply will go, where you're gonna plug them in and all that. Also know if and where you'll need to do any cuts or jumps. I have an outlet on the other side of my garage right here, which is just for these types of lights. So we'll punch through the wall to plug them in right here, and then we'll start our run of the lights here and go around the house. Another thing to consider is the placement of the lights, especially if you have any peaks or arches. This is going to be much more noticeable at night than it is during the day. My guy Justin here, who helped install these, who has also done a number of these installations, suggested to start with the light at the peak of the triangle and then work his way down either side. This ensures that each side is even, and more importantly, the peak of the triangle will look good at night. To get the cleanest installation possible, we ended up cutting them in a few places. A great thing about using Govee lights for a project like this is that Govee was the first to make these types of lights back in 2022 and have been around the longest. Therefore, there are a number of third-party accessories available that you can buy. For example, we ended up using one of these little third-party splitter junction boxes here so that we could actually split the run at one point and go into 2 directions. And again, they do do give you 4 extension wires that you can use between runs to jump any gaps. Cutting them is easy, and they do give you directions for doing this, as well as a few waterproof connectors that are provided in the box for any cuts that you need to do. Now, one last thing to note, if you have an overhang like I do on the porch, you may want to install the lights a little bit closer to the wall side than you normally would, since they don't have anything below that little ledge, that overhang there, to shine on. For those interested, I'll show a little diagram here of how we ran the lights at my house and all the cuts and jumps that we did. Now it's just time to wait for the sun to go down so we could see them in action. And wow, these things did not disappoint. I first noticed the brightness. These are the brightest permanent outdoor lights that Govee sells right now. These are 60 lumens. Coming from the 40 lumen 2nd gen model that I previously had installed, I did notice the difference right away. And of course, the Prism lights have that triple color effects optics that gives you 3 zones on a single light head. Each head integrates 3 self-developed RGB WWIC chipsets. These are all individually controllable. Now, the Prism lights are also the first that Govee offers with their new self-developed Lumen Blend color control system that delivers precise, rich, vibrant color output and gradients. It's especially noticeable on the lighter, like pastel colors, like pinks, purples, oranges, and yellows. These colors typically don't look near as good on other LED lights. Once connected in the app, you have over 100 pre-made scenes that you can use right away. This is always so much fun to play around with. You can also create your own effects and scenes manually if you want with the DIY modes. And if you don't want to do all that, you can just have AI create some cool scenes for you with their integrated AI lighting bot. Make it a winter wonderland. There's also support for Govee's Dream View Sync, which gives you some really great unified light shows when paired with other Govee lights. Now, I don't have them out yet, but I will be putting some Govee net lights on my bushes and stuff here soon, so I'll definitely be utilizing that Dream View feature soon for the holidays. You also have music sync modes where the lights will react to the music. Just so much fun and customization you can get with these, as we've come to expect from the Govee lights. And as you can see, the triple light heads here on these lights just look so cool, especially with the music mode or those different scenes. Now, as with almost all of the Govee products nowadays, these do support Matter over Wi-Fi, so you can integrate them into any smart home ecosystem, including Apple Home. Unfortunately, the effects don't come over to Apple Home through Matter, but you can control the power state and the brightness of the light. So this is great to easily turn them on or off, change the colors, or add them to your HomeKit scenes or automations. Now, I do want to mention the durability. These have the highest weatherproof rating than any of the Govee permanent outdoor lights, with an IP68 rating for the lights and IP67 rating for both the controller and the power adapter. They have an operating temperature range from -22 degrees to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. I thank God that it never gets that cold where I live here, but if you do live somewhere that experiences extreme cold in the winters, these should be just fine for you, and probably would be the model you'll want to consider, as they have the widest range, the widest temperature range for those extreme colds especially. Now, it does get extremely hot and humid where I live, and I've never had any issues with any of the other Govee permanent outdoor lights here at my house in the past. We've already had some bad rainstorms here since putting up the Prism lights, and everything's just been working fine. Now, I'm absolutely loving these lights. The improved brightness from these was obvious coming from the permanent outdoor lights too that I previously had installed. The triple color lighting on these are truly incredible and make for some really cool dynamic effects. And for the months throughout the year where you don't want to light up the house like the Griswolds, you can manually select certain LEDs to light through the DIY mode. I like to use a warm white just on certain corners and the peaks to add a little security lighting throughout the rest of the year. Then of course, I light it up with awesome effects anytime a different holiday rolls around. Now, I mentioned a few downsides in the beginning to consider, and I do want to share these in case any of these might be a deal breaker for you. First of all is the size of the lights. These are quite big. I was a little worried about that being twice as big as the other models. These also have a little black portion inside each light head that the other models don't have, so it will stand out a little bit more in the daylight. And lastly, the Prism model spaces the light heads further than any of the other models, so there are less light heads per strand, but since each light head has 3 LEDs, there are actually more LEDs per strand. And once you see them installed, to me, it kind of makes sense why they spaced them out a little bit further like this. That's because they have such a big glow, thanks to the triple LED design and the improved brightness, that this just kind of makes sense. Any closer together and they'd probably start overlapping too much and would just start to look a little muddied, I think. And lastly, these are the most expensive of the permanent outdoor lights from Govee. The 150-foot kit version that I have costs $699. So they definitely aren't cheap, but this is the flagship model that's going to give you the most features and the brightest lights. It was a clear upgrade coming from the permanent outdoor lights 2 that I previously had installed. Now Govee did give me a temporary discount code that I'll put in the video description down below that will save you a little bit of money if you want to get these or check it out if you're watching this video as it's released. The great thing about these, in my opinion, is that they are something that you can use every day, year round. You only have to purchase and install them once, and they should last for years to come. But if this model is a little bit outside of your budget range, you could get similar results, all the great effects and stuff like that from other models that Govee sells, like the 2nd gen model that I was previously using, or even the Pro model. I did a little comparison of the 3 models recently here in this video. I'll put a link right there. Check it out if you need a little help in determining which Govee permanent outdoor lights would be the best for you. But personally, I am loving the Prism and I'm super happy with the way that these turned out. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe for more smart home content every week and give this video a like if it helped. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.